Hi everyone, welcome to Paca Tuesday. I'm Tasha with Butterfield Alpaca Ranch, and today you get to meet Spydr. Spydr is a Surrey alpaca, and he's 8 years old. He was part of the group that I got 4 years ago when I first came to Nebraska that was all Surreys. My first opportunity working with Surreys. And he was one of 4 boys included in that group, and him and one other I still have. Well, he became the father of Thor and Belle, both of which you've met already. And at the time, I was using a property that had a barn and a pasture, but not many options in which to separate groups, which is something that I'm doing here at my new property. But because of that, it was kind of a challenge to keep the boys and girls separated. The boys, they were separated, but they were close enough in which they saw the girls and were excited a lot and fighting with each other a lot, you know, with the hormones and trying to claim all the girls. So they were always, you know, high-level hormones, and it just wasn't healthy. A friend of mine had a genius idea. She lives in Kearney, and that's about an hour away from me. Well, she had alpacas and said, how about I take your boys and you take my girls? That way, we each are dealing with one gender, and so that's what we did. I thought it was great, and I only had these boys for 2 weeks before we made that arrangement, and they went up to Kearney. So that was really all the time that I had with Spydr. Most of the last 4 years he's been up there, and I've seen him a few times, but I haven't handled him, spent time with him day to day too much. What I do know is that he placed himself as the alpha male, the head honcho of the entire herd, and he made sure all the other boys knew that he was the head. He was a bully, very much a bully. He took his authority very seriously, and he made sure that they knew he was the alpha. Well, when it came time to bring the boys down here permanently, we've been, talking about a few different options of what to do with Spydr anyway, leading up to that. And what ended up happening, you can see I'm kind of picking on him a little bit. What ended up happening was we chose to geld him. And that's what it is when you alter a boy so you can no longer have babies. But I came to that decision because I already had crias from him, a boy and a girl. And his aggressive behavior just created an environment that wasn't good for anyone. It wasn't good for him or the other boys or anyone who was trying to take care of all these guys. Well, it happened to be that he got gelded the same week that we brought all the boys down to this new place. Kind of a pretty stressful experience for those two things to be happening at the same time. Well, we brought him down one evening, and I forget, it's been like 4, 5, 6 weeks ago. I don't quite remember. But it was in the evening. They had a few hours here before the sunset to explore and all that. Well, come back out the next day to check on everybody, and Spydr is missing. Couldn't find him. Well, we eventually did find him. My parents were here at the time, and he was out in the furthest part of the boys' pasture that you could possibly get to. So I'm going to pan this camera around and show you where he was. Okay, so the east side of the pasture is this fence line right along here, and then this tree line is the south side, south end of that pasture. And you can see how the trees run down that way and behind that hill there. Well, this pasture is in the shape of an L, and that bottom part of the L goes all the way out to where that tree is, actually just a little bit beyond that tree. That is where he was. And it is as far away as it looks. We actually had to take the gator out there to go see him. But plenty of grass to eat. There are shade trees out there, so he had protection from the sun. The only thing he didn't have was water. And I tried 3 different ways to get him back to the barn where the water was. was my primary concern. But he was not having any of it. He was perfectly content out there all by himself. Kind of made a joke. I called it his apartment, you know, his bachelor's apartment down there all by himself. One of the things that concerned me besides the water was that he was by himself. Alpacas are strongly herd-oriented, and so for an alpaca to be by themselves is not a good thing. You should never have just one alpaca. They will be stressed and it will affect their health. And so I was concerned that Spydr was choosing to be alone, choosing to be by himself. Well, I did some reading online and come to find out that that happens when an alpaca is very stressed. They call it self-imposed isolation. And what I read was exactly what Spydr did. And because he was gelded and moved to a new home in the same week, he was just stressed. And he spent 2 days out there by himself. The third day, he was by the other boys in the barn. And he's been with the herd ever since. So he just took some time to kind of adjust. And he's been perfectly fine. Spydr and I thank you for joining us today on Paca Tuesday. Have a great day. Bye.